The Nationals and the Liberal Party room is meeting right now. They're all in a room together. The Prime Minister has been putting public and private pressure on the Nationals to agree to a net zero emissions target by 2050. He's going to Glasgow and he needs to take some kind of commitment with him. The Nationals have been poring over the plan and complain there's not a lot of detail. No detail on how Australia would reach that target and no detail on any jobs guarantee for the regions. But Barnaby Joyce is being careful not to kill it off.
And so we have to, with the time we have, which is rather truncated, to come to a conclusion on what is probably one of the most totemic decisions this nation will make. And no matter which way it goes, you would expect there to be a proper oversight and deliberation on behalf of the members of Parliament. That is more important than the deliberations of myself.
The majority of the Nationals are sympathetic to the national security impetus and the fact that our trading partners are moving towards this binding target, but there is a cost of doing so, and regional MPs want to make sure that jobs and towns are protected. Let's go live to Trudy McIntosh now. Trudy, the Prime Minister giving an indication that he wants to take this target to Glasgow, but that could prove quite provocative. Now, I mentioned that they're meeting at the moment, both party rooms together. This is what is scheduled, so it's not a special meeting to discuss climate. But I'm told just now that they won't be discussing it at all today. There is no discussion on net zero in joint party room today. It says a lot, doesn't it?
Well, that's the word that I just had too, Laura. A source close to the Prime Minister telling me that climate change is not on the agenda for today's joint party room meeting. They have a full agenda full of the legislation that's coming forward in this sitting week of Parliament. But you would be surprised, given the debate we've seen publicly in the coalition, if it doesn't get a mention in terms of backbench questions. They can't control the agenda in terms of what backbench MPs want to get up and say in the meeting. Let's watch and wait to see what actually comes out of this party room meeting. We know at stake, though, really, it's a crucial week for the Prime Minister in terms of the negotiations ahead of the Glasgow UN climate talks. Will he go there and commit to a net zero target by 2050, even if the Nationals aren't on board? That's the indication he's appearing to give to the Liberal Party room yesterday in Parliament. He said it's a matter for the Cabinet and not the party room, this decision. So giving the clearest indication we've had yet that he's happy to go to Glasgow and make this commitment on his own with the backing of Cabinet. That was really rejected by National Senator Matt Canavan, saying it would set a dangerous precedent if Scott Morrison were to go alone.
Perhaps a decision's already been made, Peter, by reports in the media. It seems like the Prime Minister is gaslighting the joint party room here, which is kind of ironic given he wants to get rid of fossil fuels. So we've given very little detail about this, and I'm in the position of being asked to marry a girl that I haven't met.
Matt Canavan has made clear, though, even if he sees the detail he's asking for, he will not support net zero. That's not the same position of Nationals MP Darren Chester. He is supportive of a net zero target, but he too wants to see the specifics of the plan for regional electorates like his, which is in Gippsland in Victoria.
Personally, I support the Prime Minister's stance on taking a position of net zero emissions by 2050 to Glasgow, but I have some reservations. I want some more details on how regional Australia will look in 2050 as well. So that's why I'm saying we should be having a Regional Australia 2050 white paper.
Trudy, it was really interesting speaking to former Labor leader Bill Shorten. He has a bit of a climate regret from the last election.
Yeah, he certainly does. There's a lot of focus this week, understandably, on what the coalition's going to do when it comes to climate policy. But remember, Labor here too doesn't also have a detailed plan on its commitment to reach net zero by 2050. The current leader, Anthony Albanese, says that is coming after Glasgow. Bill Shorten, though, reflecting today on what went wrong for him at the 2019 election. He took that 45% emissions reduction target. It was called economy reckoning by the BCA. He's told Sky News this morning, in hindsight, he wishes he'd focused more about the opportunity for jobs.
Well, I accept that what people want to know when you're proposing change is where do they fit in. And whilst the universe doesn't grant reruns, I would certainly emphasise the jobs aspect of taking action on climate change. You know, large companies and the world economy is moving towards massive investment in renewable energy. And I don't want Australian blue-collar workers to miss out on the renewable energy jobs.
The opposition also has to make a call, Laura, on the 2030 target. The Prime Minister's made it clear he won't be upgrading it, given the forecasts show that we're going to beat it anyway. He's not going to lock that in. Will Labor bank that upgraded forecast and make that a target for themselves at the next election, or will they kind of dance around this issue?
Yeah, don't expect any outcome today, is what I'm told. I think that's about spot on, Trudy. That's the only certainty in all of this. Thanks so much. We'll check in soon.